Grab a beer and pull up a chair. Welcome to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. This is Mike, the Northwoods Beer Guy, and we are, again, in Jim's basement compound. Yeah, we're still here.
Yes, we are, and we're having fun.
We're having fun.
We are secluded from the winter. That's a good spot to put it.
Yeah, we're not out in the elements. Yes, that's, yeah.
Nice and toasty in the bar.
I'm tired of snow already. I think we said that last week, but it's still here.
I'm tired of winter. Ready for spring.
And it sucks. Yeah. So Toby, as you can hear, Toby is back with us again. And I had to make sure Toby was here because I told these guys I was going to bring some beers this week that was going to totally redeem myself.
Let's hope, everybody.
All right. Are you ready? They're sitting under this towel here, so you guys couldn't see them. So are you ready to see what I brought? Well, wait a minute. Actually, Jim, hang on.
I was doing a drum roll there for you.
What do you think I brought?
Oh, you probably brought some more Shiner boxes so we could try it.
Yeah, Toby wasn't here for that.
Yes.
All right. Are you ready?
Should we do the drum roll again?
You can if you want.
Oh. Whoa.
Is it Shinerbach?
No. You can't even mention Shinerbach with this company in the same sentence.
Okay.
You can't do it.
Did you see the year?
No. What does it say?
2021.
And what year are we right now?
2024.
Okay, so these are old.
This is except for one. Was there two that year? How many was there, Jim?
Yeah, because in your
two.
Oh. See, there's two.
Two that we don't have.
Yes, I put them in red so that you would see that.
Yes.
Trying to help you out.
There's two of them that we don't have, but
only sold
in Chicago.
Yes.
But other than that, these are the other six.
Correct.
Goose Island, Bourbon County Stouts, the original, and 5 of the variations.
Yes.
Wow.
Toby, I hope you have your big boy pants on because
these are
going to be required for big boy pants.
This is a treat.
So, Mike, I know in our last podcast,
yes,
people were saying that we needed to do one with some lower ABV, 6% or below.
Yep, we did that.
Okay. Are we in that same ballpark?
With the ABV? No.
No, we're a little higher.
Just slightly higher.
Okay. All right. Because I know when I looked some of these up, they all look like they were in double digits.
I think they're all well into the double digits, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
But I know that I think you and I may have rated these many, many years before you started your podcast.
Yes.
And these were very, very good. These were like the gold standard for bourbon barrel aged beers.
Correct.
Well, I think we talked about that.
Yep.
But now there are some local breweries that are really giving Bourbon County a run for their money.
Yep. I know we've talked about this before, but I still say, Bourbon County is one of the top. Goose Island, I should say. Distal in Normal, Illinois, I think is right up there. Central Waters in Amherst, they're right up there. And locally, 608 is getting a lot better, in La Crosse. So they're getting better. They're not to this level yet, or those, but I'd say, still at the top 3 for sure.
I think there's top 3, and then everything else is a few steps below.
Right. The top 3 for sure are Goose Island. And I'm not saying in any particular order, but, because Central Waters.
Right. I mean, they did some phenomenal stuff this year. The 25th anniversary.
And at some point this year we'll have, because I think I've got enough Distal Das Vidanias to do at least a couple episodes. I got it from different years of that as well. And that's their barrel-aged Russian Imperial Stouts. And it's like, oh.
So, Toby, have you ever had a Bourbon County before?
I have. With you guys, we do this thing on Black Fridays sometimes where we go shopping, and that's where I got introduced to it. I have not had any of the 2021s, but some of the ones that we did buy on that Black Friday shopping, I've had the honor of trying, and you got to have the right people around you when you enjoy them.
Yeah, this is going to be I think we already talked about, we may not finish every bottle as we go, because these are these 16-ounce bottles, or these?
They're bigger bottles. I mean, they're...
But I think we've decided we're only going to do a taster glass.
Well, we have to,
then circle back around.
Jim gets crazy when he gets...
Because these are going to... And so we want to preface that so that if we sound like we're mumbling when we get to the last beer, it's not intentional.
Right.
The beers just tasted good.
We can't get Jim all hopped up on the goose again, so...
So, yeah, I mean, so did you see some of the info I found here about Goose Island. One thing I thought, I don't know if the listeners knew, but in 2021, Goose Island sold their brewery to Anheuser-Busch.
The InBev.
And I think that was a time when craft beers were just starting to get really popular, and a lot of the bigger companies were trying to buy up some of these smaller companies.
Yep.
Right, Mike? Is that?
Yes, I agree with you, because there's other companies that did the same thing, and it's kind of funny because I heard earlier, like this last summer, 2023, that InBev actually was selling some of their craft breweries. And I thought, then I don't have to feel guilty buying Goose Island or buying Bourbon County. Because honestly, these are the only Goose Islands I typically buy are the Bourbon County. But they held on to that one. So, of course they did, because that's, the big one.
But I don't think that the bigger people that bought them have influenced their flavors, right?
I think they've left them alone.
Okay, that's what I was hoping.
Because that would have been just a tragedy if they would have,
influenced some of them.
Yeah, because we've seen some other ones where companies buy a brewery and then all of a sudden they're the same, here's the beer before and then here's the beer after, and it tastes totally different. And it's like, why would you do that? So there's a reason you bought them. You should have just, stuck with it. And
they were doing good with that original flavor.
Yeah, and luckily it seems like they've left these guys alone to kind of continue to do their thing. But then now you guys said you heard that they're not going to do like the Black Friday thing possibly. So they're going to release them throughout the year.
Is it the salesman?
Yeah, this is
the distributor. Yeah.
Right. Well, the guy that was there that day.
Yep.
He was letting us know that because a lot of them now don't. I mean, like this year was probably the first year we didn't see a lot of different beers on Black Friday. Before, you could find a lot of different beers on Black Friday. And now a lot of them are starting, when they package them, they release. And I think that's because they said, was it 4 or 5 beers is all that we got from Bourbon County this 2023.
There's 4.
And he said this was the last year they're going to save them to Black Friday. They're going to, as they package them, they'll release them. They're going to get them out there more, get it to the consumer as soon as they...
Sure.
So they must have had to save some of these because their bottling line, I'm sure, wasn't big enough to bottle all these at one time. So they must have had to bottle them and save them, package them somewhere. So,
right.
I mean, it makes sense.
Oh, it totally does.
But now it kind of defeats our Black Friday shopping.
Yeah. Now I don't know what we're going to do.
Now we're going to have to come up with plan B.
Yeah.
So
we might just have to drink beer.
Okay.
So.
Oh, wait. I got to twist your arm first.
Yeah.
So should we try one and then talk a little bit? Because, I found a lot of info on them, which is, I guess, good that we have some stuff to talk about. But, I think their website, they have such good information because, they're one of is a military term, a plank owner. They started a lot of the barrel aging process. So I'm sure they had a lot of aches and pains when they first started, but I think now they have really got it tuned in really good.
Sure.
And it says that they started their barrel aging in 1992. So that's, over 30 years ago.
I'll say their barrel aging program is older than most craft breweries.
Right. So kudos to them and I'm sure it wasn't easy at the beginning.
Oh, I'm sure.
But to stick with it and go with it, keep going at it. So which one should we start off with?
Well, let's start out with the original.
The original.
The original stout, Bourbon County, and this one is 14.4%.
Yes.
ABV. So it's just slightly above the 6%
All right.
we were at.
We got a little write-up on it, too. Right. Our goal and all these were 2021. We said that, right?
Yes, 2021s. Yep.
So our goal each and every year is to uphold the integrity of Greg Hall's recipe and make the best Bourbon County Stout possible. Their 2021 is no exception. Our rich Imperial Stout is blended from a mix of bourbon barrels from distilleries such as Heaven Hill, Wild Turkey, and Buffalo Trace. So, Mike, I know that you talked to one of the previous podcasts, you and BK.
Yep.
So does that mean you'd have to do 3 shots for every glass of beer from here?
I don't think we'd pick this one.
Oh!
We'd have to pick one that was only aged in 1 barrel.
Okay. All right. Each aged in freshly emptied bourbon barrels for 8 to 14 months. Expect flavors of chocolate and vanilla, oak, whiskey, and molasses, followed by caramel, berry fruit, and almond. Well, that right there alone sounds really, really good. Oh, God.
It's a good thing Jim is sitting down right now.
My mouth, I'm salivating right now. Just the smell. Wow.
For being that high in alcohol, it is smooth. Now, Jim, I apologize. I can't remember when we tried it in 2021 and compared to now, if it's mellowed a little bit or not. I don't know for sure. I don't remember.
Well, and again, I could be wrong, but I don't feel a burn from the burn.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's super smooth.
But the flavor is good. There's no burn.
That's what I'm saying.
For 14%.
That's what I was getting at. It's just the burn isn't there. It's just like, whoa.
This is... Toby, you haven't heard much from me, or are you just enjoying?
I am. there's no burn. There's warm, enjoyable. Just the smell when you first take that smell of all those flavors in there. It's not one of those where one jumps out at you. It just smells good as a combination. And then you take the drink and it is smooth. Even as I watched you pour it, it pours smooth.
Yeah.
It's just such an interesting and good combination.
Well, and I mean, to be able to use 3 different barrels.
Yeah.
I mean, the blending on this is tremendous.
Now, do you remember the Firestone Walker one we did?
Yes.
Up north. They had the blending thing down, and we still have 2 of those. We had to do 2 years of them. But this is very good. I mean, I get the hint of the oak for sure, the whiskey, a little bit of the molasses, a little bit of vanilla. I'm not sure on the berry fruit and such. I'm not positive, but I get the rest. It's very good.
Well, it's definitely not like that berry that we had at that last episode where it was like, ugh.
It didn't say anything in here about a cordial. So.
No, of course.
They didn't. This isn't cordial. This is big boy beer here. So
here's the challenge I think for us is this is probably not an entry level beer for the person who's
if you've never
tried barrel aged beers. I mean, would you recommend these?
I would say they should at least taste it, but I think they're going to be like, they're going to get, some people get freaked out by the whiskey and such, which I don't pick. It's not super strong, but that and just the ABV, higher ABV, I think could turn somebody off if they've never had it before. So I would say this is probably a little more advanced.
And I think for the population out there that enjoys their whiskey but doesn't like beer much, you definitely have to give these a sample because that flavor of that bourbon that comes through, I'm going to say indirectly, is just very, very pleasing. And
so since you're the guest, why don't you give us a start? Give us a whirl. And I guess let's remind everybody again, how do we score on these, Mike? And I guess I don't know if we talked about it in a while, and I know you went to Nashville for a little siesta vacation. Mm-hmm. What is the number of beers you've rated on Untappd so far?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I probably should have looked it up. So
just to see if you have the street cred.
And with because last week we had what? 8. So I am at 4,777.
So you're still not got the street cred that I have, but you're trying to get up there, right?
Correct. Okay. Yes.
Right. So and your average then is
it's still 2.98.
So you're kind of over.
Well, it just shows I'd try a lot of better beers.
Or you've been at my house drinking some of my good stuff, and you haven't been doing your own swill like you normally do.
I think he just called this stuff swill.
Well, you finally. I mean, I had to almost twist his arm to bring these out so we could try them.
I think I'm almost offended
because now we got Toby here, so now we can try some good.
Toby, I think we need to take a vote. It's a 2/3 vote. I think Jim needs to sit in the corner for the next one.
I really don't want to get in the middle of this because I just want to be able to enjoy these, and I don't want anyone taking them away from me.
Well, then give us your score. So that
0 to 5, 2.5 is average. We're probably going to see scores more like Jim normally scores beers. So.
This is the first one. So
this is the original.
This is their base model. This is the stripped down pinto of their beers.
Well, this reminds me of the Dragon's Milk that we did, where we had the regular Dragon's Milk and then the different variants.
Right.
And so this is
And I'm going back to that, and I think about Central Waters, and where do I rate all these and how they fit together? So I think my ratings today are going to come just truly from what's in front of me.
Okay.
Because there are definitely some of those Central Water ones that I enjoy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think they're good. I when I drink it, I don't think there's anything better. But sitting down with these tonight, I don't know. This is going to be hard. So where do you start with it? That base, that first one, I can tell you these are way above average. Average is 2.5. I am going to go a little conservative on the original though. Okay, and I don't want to jump to I think I did that maybe a month or two ago where I jumped right away up, and I still thought that was the better one that we started with the original. But I'm going to go with a 3.8 to start with the original.
All right. That's every opinion's valued.
Yep,
Mike,
exactly.
What are you thinking?
Boy, I'm glad you brought up about people that maybe haven't had they like bourbon, but they haven't tried these beers. I think that's I think they would probably enjoy them, honestly. So that's a great thing to say, because I think you could see crossover there from that way. So Yeah, I was sitting there going, I'm going for it. And then you're like, I don't want to paint myself in a corner. I'm like, I might be painting myself in a corner. This is good. It's very good. I think, well, so it's just over 2 years that I got it. It is very good. I'm going 4. I got to go 4 because I just think that is just a wonderful beer. Like I said, it's something that, would I recommend it to a new person? No, but we've been at it long enough to, and that's the one thing, I know we've talked about it before, but I mean, you and I, we've rated, and BK is the same thing. I mean, we've rated well over 500 beers that are over 10%, okay. And a lot of people have never had a beer over 10%.
Right.
So I think it does take a little bit to get used to that. Cause I remember the first time I had one, it was like, whoa, that's super strong. But now it's, now we kind of look forward to them, So yeah, I just think it's a very good beer, and it mellowed tremendously. I mean, it's no burn to it, I don't think. And yeah, I like it.
So, I mean, that's a solid score. And I think for me, I mean, what's unique is they talk about what is in their bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And you can almost taste each flavor. Where a lot of the other ones, there's just like one that just sticks out. And they use 3 different barrels to age this, multiple different months. So I mean, just think of the brewmaster. He's taking a product where he's already aged it in one bourbon barrel for X number of months, and it tastes good. And he says, you know what? I'm going to take that beer and I'm going to put it in another bourbon barrel, age it longer, and then after that it tastes better, and then I'm going to put it in a third one. So, I mean, do you know how much of a risk? Because that first time you're doing it, you don't know what it's going to taste like. And then all of a sudden, he's like, whoa, look at what we got. So, I mean, just by the sheer fact that they're stepping out, I mean, is phenomenal. I mean, I've got to go to the 4.0. We know how difficult it is to try to make a beer, just a good craft beer. And then for them to do this extra with it, that's just the cherry on top.
Yep.
And this is our first beer.
Yeah. So, it's funny when we were talking about it. So one of the distilleries, when Susie and I were in the Tennessee, Kentucky area, they had barrels that they used to make bourbon. Then they sent that to a brewery. The brewery made a beer out of that. They sent the barrel back, and they did another bourbon in it. Not a bourbon, a whiskey, because bourbon has to be in a fresh barrel.
Oh.
But then they did a whiskey out of it, and I didn't try.
You didn't try it?
Well, we each had so many, like 4 that you could try, and there was these other ones like, and Susie's like, you should try that. And I'm like, yeah, but this one sounds really, so I never tried it. And I was kind of kicking myself, but our daughter has one more year to play, so we may be going back down.
There you go.
So I'm going to check it out, because I thought it'd be interesting to see what that would have tasted like, going from bourbon to beer to whiskey in the same barrel. It's just an interesting little tidbit that I've never heard of anybody doing it before. So
that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're thinking outside the box. That's what craft beer brewers do. So, I mean, kudos to them for trying.
Yeah. Well, should we keep this party going?
Yeah. Which one are you going to try next?
Well,
so I make sure I get the right.
Yeah. So this is the Cherrywood Stout from 2021.
Okay.
This one says it's 14.3.
All right. Should I do the little read up on this?
I'll crack this bad boy open.
At the heart of each Bourbon County are the wood characteristics we thoughtfully amplify. This year, 2021, we took wood complexities to another level by doing something we've never done before. We took fully matured Bourbon County Stout and finished it with toasted fruit wood, specifically honeycomb-shaped cherry wood chips. The versatility of the cherry wood and honeycomb shape allowed for maximum flavor extraction, revealing complex characteristics like red fruit, ripe cherry, light toffee, which are not found in the original oak barrel itself. The result is an amazing elevation and a notable difference from the original Bourbon County Stout.
So just on the aroma, it has a sweeter, almost a little bit of a cherry smell to it.
Absolutely.
So you were reading, I'm just sitting there smelling it, and then when you said about that, I was like, I can totally smell that.
That smells good. That's really good.
It's fruit.
Yeah. Yeah,
See,
mister.
This is what a fruit beer should taste like.
Oh.
This is my base. Everything has to go up from here. Those previous ones we've tried were, and I think you guys are going to have to agree. There's no fruit that we've had in the previous few episodes that have tasted this good.
No.
This is pretty good.
Boy, I'm just sitting there smelling it, and like I said, you can definitely smell a difference. You know what I mean? Just
That's good. And again, there's no burn.
Mm-mm.
The flavor's really good. That's really
that's good.
That's a solid beer. Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, we again fell into appreciate Mike to let him bust these out finally.
Well,
so we can tell everybody how good they are.
It's always kind of funny because my strategy is, well, I know Jim's going to drink his right away, so I can have some of his, and then I just stash this stuff.
Oh,
so I've been doing that for years.
See, I always give Mike all my good stuff right away, and then all of a sudden he just brings over like this swill, and we just got to like muscle through it.
That's because I'm like, well, who's going to drink? Jim will help me drink this. I can't drink this by myself. Ugh.
This is what do you? I mean, you
no,
think
this is
good.
Sitting in the bottle for 2 years has not hurt this at all.
This is really good. I'm just amazed. And this is the cherry wood, right?
This is the cherry wood. Yep.
It is a cherry, and even when you look at it, there's just a
when I was pouring it,
red,
it had a hint of red when I was pouring it, and I was like, maybe I'm just seeing something.
No,
I mean, it is darker overall. It's darker.
Oh yeah.
But
like I said, when I was pouring it, though, when you see the light through it, you can see like a reddish hue to it.
Like a little tint.
Yes.
Which doesn't affect I mean, this kind of lets you know it's a little different, but I mean, you can't really tell the difference in color.
Yep.
But boy, this is
a good one. Like they said in their description, the result is an amazing elevation. It truly is. Over that original beer, this is fantastic.
It's good.
Yeah, this is really, I think the aging has helped. I honestly think it mellowed it down just a little bit.
That's what I was wondering. I almost was thinking, Jim, when we had yours, when we first got it, I thought it had more of a bite to it. I could be wrong, but I think letting them age a little bit, it definitely smooths stuff out and brings out the flavors a little bit. And
this is, well, once you start, then what do you think?
Well, I already painted myself in a corner because if I can rescore that first one, I like this. I'm going to go 4-1. I think it's better than the first one. The cherry, none of the flavors are over the top, but it just adds to it.
It's all mixed perfect.
And like I said, it has a little bit of a sweeter aroma, and I'm 4-1. It's a good beer.
Toby, what do you think?
I'm going to probably hurt myself here by doing this, but I'm a big cherry guy. I love the flavor of cherry.
Yep.
And to me, this is way smoother even than the original. And maybe it's just that cherry in it. I don't know. I love the way it just sits. Like it's just good. Like I finish one sip and I want to have another one. It's really good. So I'm going to make a little bit of a jump here. I'm going all the way up to 4.3 on this one.
Wow.
This is good.
Wow. Later on, he's going to be going, ugh.
So, I echo everything you guys have said. There's nothing wrong with this beer whatsoever. And again, I think for us, I guess maybe I'm speaking for myself, but we're splitting a hair. That's like so fine because all these are on the upper end of the scale. These are like exceptional beers.
Yep.
So we're in the exceptional category. And by I think my score, even if it's in the 4s, it's not sliding it. It's just how hard we're trying to differentiate something so minute in our taste buds. It's not easy to do. And I'm going to have to stick with Mike. I'm going to have to piggyback on him and say the 4.1. So, I mean, it's a good beer.
It's like...
There you go, buddy.
All right.
So I did see something interesting in here, too. I don't know if it's... But some of their blending stuff online, it said... Because, the blending, so they're putting it in a barrel, a wooden barrel. So the expansion and contraction of the wood results in the beer picking up distinct characteristics with remarkable nuance. So the char layer is going to give it a smoky flavor, a chocolate flavor, and a roasted coffee flavor. Didn't know that. The absorption layer. So that must be... maybe just below the char.
It could be, yeah.
That has a tobacco and a leather flavor. I didn't know that. So then the third layer is the bourbon layer, where the coconut, caramel, vanilla, and cherry comes from. And then below that is the raw wood layer.
And that's where the oak...
That's where the earthy and the woody flavors come from. So, I mean, that's just...
I guess I've never heard of them said that way, but that makes total sense.
Right. So they also talk in here, like, one of their beers from 2023, the Angel's cut.
Yes.
So they said the term angel share is used to describe the volume lost due to evaporation during the aging process.
Not to cut you off. We learned that when we did a distillery tour.
Ah, really?
Yep. And then they have because you have the Angel's, and that's what
Devil's
evaporates.
cut.
And when you go to any distillery, that's been there for a while. The buildings, the trees, everything has like a black coating on it. And that's from the evaporation of the
through the
bourbon coming through the wood. Yes. So that's the angel share. And then continue.
So it says there is loss of volume due to absorption into the barrel as well, which is referred to as the devil's
cut. Yep.
And then that's when they put the beer in there. That's what's grabbing and pulling back in here, right? Is a devil's cut?
Yep. Because when the barrels heat up and cool down, it either soaks the beer in, and then it like pushes it back out, and it pulls that bourbon with it.
Right.
Or whatever. So, and remember, there was one of the bourbon companies, they came out with a devil's cut.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it was Jim Beam. It must have been like Jim Beam or one of those. But they had devil's cut, or they somehow extracted it from the wood.
Oh.
So, I don't know. I've never tried it. I've heard mixed reviews.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
on that,
so many years ago, when it was even before craft beer, I think was around a lot. I had a friend that used to drive semi, and he actually brought up. He had a load of, I think they were Jack Daniel's barrels. He was just taking them somewhere. I don't know where he was, but he actually kept one or bought one or something.
One fell off the load,
and he actually put like a gallon of water or 2 gallons of water in the bottom, left it out in the sun, and it actually pulled the Jack Daniels out of the wood. It wasn't the same ABV or whatever, but it still had the same flavor. It was just amazing. So that was back, in the early 90s.
Right.
So I'm sure that, the same thing probably is true for beer.
Yeah, same
Putting
concept.
that in there, I'm sure they're not leaving it out in the sun.
No, they usually have
There's
it
got to be some way that they're controlling the temperature. And I don't know if they would raise the temperature, lower the temperature to open up the wood,
That's something we should ask them when we go to Distil again.
Yeah, if they keep it the same temperature.
Yeah, if it's a constant thing or if it's, how they do that.
Because you would think by opening up the pores.
Or Central Waters, we could talk to Central Waters too, I'm sure. Maybe they just say, hey, we're just just wondering.
Right.
Yeah, that is cool though.
Yeah, so which one is number 3?
Well, boy, Jim is just like giddy to keep going. So this is the Classic Cola Stout.
Classic Cola. All right, I do have some.
All right, in this one, it's 14.1.
It says, pushing the boundaries of barrel-aged stouts is in our DNA. And with that, we brought to life our first ever cola-inspired variant. Brewers Paul and Jason bonded over their love for a classic cola while creating this classic Cola Stout, combining the refreshing nature of classic cola and picking up the flavor profile from a whiskey cola. We added lime and orange juice and zest, plus Ron's brother-in-law's favorite, coriander.
You mean my brother-in-law, Ron?
Yeah, I didn't say names.
Yeah. You said Ron's brother-in-law.
Oh, no, you're... oh, sorry about
that. Sorry, Ron.
Cassia bark, nutmeg, brown sugar, and vanilla to bring out the complex characters like Mike of this classic drink. This is the ultimate twist on a whiskey cola and a must-try for a Bourbon County stout. Cola or whiskey cola.
I will say this, when I was just trying to get the aroma, it really wasn't very prominent. But then I took a taste, and it definitely you can taste.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That tastes like...
You know what I mean? I was just like, I thought this is going to be... Wow. I don't know. And then I tasted it, and I was like, wait a minute.
I wasn't excited about this. Not a cola, but...
And I took that little sip, and I went, whoa.
That tastes
like came right out of left field there, It was like, wow.
That's amazing.
If you had this on ice...
because these are... We've let them warm a little bit.
Right.
Because typically your big stouts like these, you want them between like 50 to 54. And I think we're pretty close to that temperature on these. Yeah, the aroma, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was going to be pretty, but yeah, wow. The flavor made up for it.
Yeah, I'm amazed.
I am too. You'd say cola and you'd be like, yeah, whatever, But
this just tastes like...
It tastes like cola.
I apologize, Jim. Not that I wasn't listening to you, but did you say there was lime? Okay, because I do taste kind of a little bit of a lime. As the first I was going to say, is that a cherry? But no, it's a lime.
Lime and orange juice.
Yeah, I totally can pick that. I don't think Ron would mind this because I don't get coriander at all.
If there's coriander, it's like a very faint.
Right.
And I don't...
I can understand the nutmeg, brown sugar, vanilla. I think I get that. Yeah. That's a good beer.
This is just amazing. This is just amazing how they blended this all. What do you think to it? You're shaking your head.
Yeah, I honestly, I was not super excited about this to try, because I thought, they're gonna water it down, they're gonna do something that just different, and it drinks almost like a mixed drink.
I mean, is there a burn? Do you have any burn?
No burn at all.
I haven't had a burn on any of these.
No,
I mean, it's
that
amazing.
is just amazing. And again, I do think letting it age that long, I think that does help.
Right.
But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I'm impressed.
Yeah, this is good. You want me to start off scoring?
You started off.
please do.
All right. Gosh, this is
So here's the deal. Remember, you can have ties because we can't just keep going.
Can't keep going higher.
You can if you want, but you can have ties.
To me, so far, this is probably my favorite. I like this one. I've got to go 4.2. I like this one better than the other.
Okay.
I mean, the flavors, sweetness. It's not, and again, this is not Avery sweet. Where it hurts your teeth. It's just got the right combination. No burn. It's just smooth. I mean, it almost tastes like a whiskey Coke. Like it was on ice. So, I mean, very kudos. Very good beer. Mike? That was a big sigh.
You sold me. I'm going to go with 4.2 as well, just because I do really think that little hint of lime, really is like kind of almost, I'm not going to say refreshing, but it's like, whoa,
We've had some lime beers before.
Oh, yeah. And they haven't been like that. That is good. And just like I said, the aroma threw me a little bit because there just wasn't a whole lot of aroma. And I thought, ooh, this, and then you taste it and it's like, wow, that is crazy good.
But even like a can of Coke when you pop, there's no aroma.
Right.
So, I mean, they matched it up.
But yeah, it's good. It's really good. So yeah, I'm going to 4.2.
All right. Toby?
This is one of those that will get you in trouble because you could easily drink the entire bottle of that without realizing what you're doing at what is it, 14.1%?
Yep.
Man, for me, again, like I said, I really like that cherry. These are at the same level, so I have to give it a tie. I have to go with that 4.3.
So let me ask you guys something. Like with this one here, do you think a newer person that hasn't had a lot of high that they could drink this?
I think they could. I mean,
I think this one they could.
I mean, it's a very sweet.
They'll get messed up because they're not used to that higher alcohol. But this one, I think you could probably drink.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think any of these, for me or for us so far, have not said it's had a burn.
No, not at all.
So if you're afraid you're going to have a whiskey burn, none of these have had it, but they've all had a very distinct flavor.
And that's what's scary about this one because it has that cola.
It's got that sweetness to it,
drinkability that's like, holy buckets,
Yeah, could scare. I mean, you could drink this and get.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to do this riding your lawnmower.
Yeah. Or you don't want to drink a 6-pack.
No.
If you have more of these, we need to drink them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been good. I mean,
that is impressive. I mean, just like I said, and I'm with you, Toby, honestly, because I can't remember if when we first tried them, if I thought the same thing. It's like, I just don't know. I thought they were going to ruin it, kind of thing. Right. It's kind of some out of the wacky thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it was good, new, but like I said, this is just crazy how it's.
And Bourbon County, the way that they mixed all of, we're not talking like one or two ingredients. This is a whole smorgasbord of things that they're putting together, and the flavors just...
Yeah, and it was what it speaks to what you said before, that not only are they figuring out multiple barrels to get the original recipe, then they're doing something additional to it that, boy, you can really mess it up, or you can come up with something that really works. And they've got some great ideas, and obviously they know what they're doing, because that's good.
Well, and I guess just to elaborate, nothing against Central Waters. They're doing a great job. But Central Waters is taking their base Imperial Stout and putting it in different bourbon barrels.
Well, no, that was their 25th anniversary series.
Right.
So I don't know if they do that every year or not, but just...
Right. So these are actually all different ingredients aged in a different bourbon barrel. So there's a totally different... I think that they are taking it to the... That's why I think there might be a step ahead of Central Waters.
Sure.
Just my opinion.
Yeah. So the one thing I was going to say is it's kind of funny to me when you have a lot of beers will say, well, here's the flavor, basically the flavors we're going for.
Right.
And these ones, it's like, here's the flavors you're going to taste.
Yes.
Wouldn't you agree, Toby? I think that's...
You're going to get
to me, that's what separates these guys from the vast majority of breweries out there. They tell you what you're going to taste everybody else tells you what they're hoping, that what they're going for,
And, that brings up a good point that we still haven't went back to Beloit to talk to G5, those guys that told me was going to do the handstand on the keg.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And that would, because they seemed like they were doing pretty good on their barrel aging process.
Yeah, they were.
That was good.
So
we'll have to make a trip back through there at some point and check them out.
I don't know if they're at Bourbon County yet.
No,
but they sure tasted good.
But they're on their way.
Yes,
and they had their niche, and I think that's when I started, I'm rating these based off of today and what happens, because Central Waters is unique in itself, and I like those flavors. But that G5 group, man. They had something with the 3 beers that we tried there. They were good.
Yep.
And then just to put perspective, I guess, when they mixed the beers, which they're like, hey, you want to try that? We're like, yeah. It was like, wow.
It was just like if you went to a bourbon distillery where they're mixing the different parts of different bourbons into one glass.
Yep.
It was the same thing with that beer. I mean, it made it even better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. Like I said, I don't think they've been around all that long, G5.
Right.
So I think they've come a long way. I think they're on a path if they continue down that
they
path.
They might even be able to afford some advertising.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
Instead of the container, the 12-pack.
If they didn't have to have, tear the bottom out of a thing and right there.
They knew we were going to be there that day drinking all their beers, so they had to save money somehow.
Yes, exactly. They'd bring extra beer, so they had to leave the advertising stuff at home.
But if those guys ever listen to this, we love you guys, and we will definitely help you.
We'll do pro staff
your product.
Yes. We could do an on-site.
There you go.
All right. So, Mike, what do we got?
All right. Well,
we're
on to number 4.
Number 4.
And this has a really long stout aged in rye whiskey barrels with cassia bark, cacao nibs. What is that?
I think, is this brand 14?
Yes.
Okay.
14 stout. Yep.
Yes.
And coconut water. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's brand 14 stout. Brand 14 stout. I apologize.
So when I printed this off, it said ABV is TBD.
TBD. On the bottle, it says, oh boy, they went weak. 13.2.
So this is
It's probably from the coconut water.
Well, that's what I was worried about. I heard coconut, and I react to coconut the way Jim reacts to fruit.
So here we go. So here's the details on this. It says, for the first time ever,
Oh boy.
we're digging into the proprietor's vault and bringing back a fan favorite with Bourbon County 14 Stout. But this time, it's with a twist. We're paying homage. You like that?
Yeah. Good job, dude.
Nice.
He's getting all froofy on this.
To the popular...
Pinky up.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's right. Are you drinking these with your pinky up?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Proprietor's 2014 recipe, but upping the rye ante by adding rye to the mash bill, layering cassia bark, cacao nibs, panela sugar, and Toby's favorite, coconut water. This stout has an intricate, sweet, and spicy flavor profile that will have fans going back sip after sip.
So I'm not.
Wow.
I'm gonna make a comment before I even try it. Right.
All right.
Not a coconut fan, so when I hear that, I'm like, eh. And rye is my least favorite whiskey by far.
So you get 2 of the things that you are...
Yeah.
So you're saying it's got 2 strikes right off the bat.
You're going into it with that.
And you get that mindset,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You hear those things, you start thinking one way.
Yep.
But,
So you're going to open up your mind. Is it going to blow your mind?
well, as much as you drinking sours.
Ooh, all right. Well, let's see.
Pinky out, Jim.
I don't want to let this one. This has a muted smell. It's not as aromatic as the other 3.
Good news is I don't smell coconut.
Right. What do I taste? What is that? That's...
Honestly, it almost has a little cinnamon almost.
I was going to say, that was
taste to it.
cinnamon. That's what that flavor is.
And even the aroma, to me, it had almost a cinnamon smell to it.
But the sweet and spicy flavor, maybe that's...
The spicy flavor. So what
The spicy is going to be the rye, because that almost has like a pepper.
think so?
When they use it in bourbon or whiskeys, it's like a peppery.
Really? So
Yeah.
that's definitely what I taste.
Yep.
But not overpowering. Not,
No.
I mean, yeah.
It's...
Rye whiskey can sometimes be a little bit
Yeah, I mean, it can...
hard
Rye
to
moonshine
palate.
has
Yep.
peppery taste to it.
So
I mean, but it's... Again, I don't have a burn.
Mm-mm.
no,
It's
no burn.
smooth.
This is good.
But it has a very... It's different than the previous three.
Yes.
Different and not in a bad way.
That's the one thing that all of these have. It's not like, okay, here's the base and then this is just
one notch off.
This or that. They've all been pretty distinct.
Yeah, very unique.
You know, I do taste a little.
Which I think is hard to do. I don't think what they're doing is easy.
No.
I think this is a lot of years of toil and blood, sweat, and tears, and they've came up with a very, very good product.
Yeah, I agree. I think I do. You can kind of taste a little bit of a coconut on the end. Very faint. It's good. I mean, I like it. You know, I think this one. I think new people. Well, unless you don't like rye.
Yeah,
then it's going to be.
This one may not be the one.
Right. I think the cola one would be to try. Yeah, they could try that, but
would be right in everybody. This one maybe for the moderate to advanced craft beer drinker.
Yeah.
Just because the flavors that you're tasting, you got to be ready for. I mean, this is not the novice may not be ready for all these flavors interact. But I mean, for us, I mean, I enjoy this.
I think it's very
good.
I think it's very good.
So what are you thinking, Toby? What is your I know it has cocoa or coconut and rye.
Yeah, but it was surprisingly good. Not my favorite of where we're at, so I'm going to give it a 4.0.
All right, that's solid. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm in agreement. I think of the four so far, this one is not my favorite. I think it's very good, though.
Yes.
I do. It's head and shoulders above most of the beers. I'm going to put it in a tie. I'm going to go at a 4.1 just because, again, I think it is a step down from that cola. And I'm just going to go 4.1, put it right there.
All right. And so, here's where I wish we had access to the brewmaster to ask, the one question I have is, like we talked with Central Waters, they have their base Imperial Stout, then they age it in other bourbon barrels. Mm-hmm. Is the first beer we started, the original, is that the base? So they've aged it in all these other barrels and then they do these other things, or do they have a recipe and then are changing that recipe and then putting it in bourbon barrels?
Gotcha. Okay.
So and the reason why I say that
is a good question. Yeah.
So there's 3 barrels in that first one.
Yep.
And then you put it in a fourth one for that number 14 that we had.
Right. Or is it a whole different
completely
thing?
separate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I like that. I mean, that first one was good, and I think that's almost not even. They may call it the base, but I don't know if that's even the base. This one I didn't think was quite as good as the one of the aged in 3 different barrels. So I'm going to go a 3.9. Only because at first I thought was like so super smooth. This, I mean, you definitely can taste that rye.
Right.
I mean, that very first, not now after the second or third sip, it's not as strong or prevalent, but that, like you mentioned, it was that pepperish.
Yes. From the
flavor
rye,
on the very first sip, but then it goes away.
Right.
After.
Yep.
I mean, and we're not slamming these. We only got a taster glass. We're just sipping. And I mean, gosh, that's the hard. We're splitting hairs. I mean, from the first bottle to the fourth bottle, we're all within 0.4 of a point.
Right.
We're not even. I mean, we're talking. I mean, something closer. And I don't know if a lot of times we have beers where maybe not on the lower end of the scale. Here we're on the upper end of the scale again, and we're in Bourbon County. Kudos to you for making it as difficult as it is for this taste.
Right.
But I mean, we're not, and I don't think any of us are trying to say any beer's bad. It's just what our opinion is and how we think what flavor's coming through.
Yep.
I don't know what you guys think on.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, this is a direct. Like when we did the Dragon's Milk, they were direct comparisons. Yep. This is the same thing, and we're comparing it to itself, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And when you start off so high,
right?
And we knew, doing these, it was going to be tough.
Here's something I don't know if you thought about. And I don't know if it's possible. Is it possible to compare breweries with their bourbon barrel beers?
Huh? What do you mean?
So. Let's say we take a Bourbon County, compare that against a Central Waters.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you, because each of these now has 6 different flavors, right, for this year, and then Central Waters has different anniversary bottles. So how would you, if we're going to do a complete, and a tasting that was unbiased and they're all that they were close. How would you do that?
Honestly, I think what if at some point, if we want to do something like that, I think what we would need to do is we would have to have, honestly, like a blind taste test where Susie, Julie, whoever, we'd have somebody actually pour the beers. We wouldn't even see the bottle, you know what I mean? And just A, B, C, D, you know, if we did whatever, say we just did the top three, A, B, C, and then we just taste them that way, you know what I mean? And then just say, okay, because
there's not an easy way, is there?
No, because going in, if it's like you see them, you know, you're going to be like, oh, well, that's this, and that's really good, and then, well, you know. So I think it's going to be one of those where...
Because I think the listeners may be asking, well, how do I know, you know, because you're not going to see, I mean, other than like at one of our local establishments here that has a Bourbon County, even in the cooler.
Oh, right.
So how do they, if they're going to someplace, how do we tell the listeners the difference between, you know, if they have different options?
So I think, you know, and my understanding is you guys, to the best of your ability, are giving your interpretation of the beers in front of you and trying to have the listeners understand what it is you're drinking. And then you rate them. And the ratings truly come down to preference, right?
Yep.
So if you just take regular beer, people that like Miller Lite, Busch Light, Bud Light, they all taste different, but people have their preference with it for whatever reason. And I think the same would hold true here. So if you start comparing the Central Waters, the Bourbon County, and the...
Like
Dragon's Milk.
And Distal. Yeah.
Or Dragon's Milk is up there too. Those
so
four,
those four. And there's four of us sitting at this table. All of us would have a different preference on which one we like the best.
Yep.
Because of our own personal...
Yep.
You know, but that might be an interesting...
You know what I'm saying, Mike?
That might be an interesting, because like what we, you know, when we do the beer tastings at the camper, the bottles are hidden. We don't know what they are until after you've tasted them. Right. But on something like that, we could keep the bottles hidden.
Right, but how would you still... So like if you were going to take one of these against the Central Waters, which... one of these bottles would you take?
Well, right.
Against
well, you'd have to start with all the originals.
Right now, I wouldn't take any of them because they're open.
Well, thanks, Captain Obvious. That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
That's
Maybe
why.
I should move on after that comment. But
so Mike...
But no, I totally understand. And Toby has a great idea if you had just like the original...
Imperial Stout.
Well, I'm trying to think. I'd have to look and see for Distal. I don't know if they had just a regular... They got to have...
Base model, right?
A base... I'll have to look. I don't remember for sure. But that's a good thing. I mean, if you had, like I said, the base model of this, the base model of the Dragon's Milk, the base Central Waters, and then that one, that would be the only really easy head-to-head, so to speak... Comparison. Because otherwise, if you pull... Like, let's say the cola from this, and you pull the, you know, whatever from Dragon's Milk, and the Pappy Van Winkle one. You know what I mean? Then you're getting into, okay, wait a second. Now you're getting into a total different thing. You would have to, that Toby, you did a great thought there.
Because we have never compared breweries. We were comparing the beers against themselves, against their own brewer, but not against somebody else.
And we may be shocked to find out, you know what I mean?
And I think here's another interesting point, and I think that we've learned it when you try multiple beers. Your taste buds aren't as good at the first beer as at the last beer.
Depending how long the tasting is. So sometimes the first ones are better, and then the time to get there.
If you're not the first beer, you may not. It may taste different.
Yep.
So I mean,
well, maybe we'll look at that. We could have
just a point to ponder.
Yes, we could look at some kind of the head-to-head, you know, so to speak, the top 4 barrel-age companies. Yeah. And
Fireside might be in there.
Or Firestone Walker. That was, Toby didn't have any of that one. That wasn't it? That was an amazing.
That was a good beer, too. So, thinking of amazing beer. So
Toby, just to let you know, the next 2, you're going to have to tighten your belt up a little bit.
Really?
Because we're stepping it up.
What do you got there, Jim?
I hope the listeners can hear this. So the last 2 beers were so important to the brewer that they actually packaged them in these cardboard cylinders with an aluminum top and bottom. Which you don't see that very often. I mean, Bourbon County, I think, is probably the only. I
think that's the only one I've seen do that. They're probably the only ones I can get, because I think those bottles are like $60 a bottle or something crazy. So, they were expensive.
Are going to be. I'm glad Toby's here because he may have to roll us out. But these
We may have to roll Toby out. You never know.
These are really, really just by that they're packaged this way it sets them off, apart from the other ones.
Yep.
And by what they're talking about is going to even be more impressive. So I don't know if you want to read, or you want to, or shall I let Toby read some of this?
Well, let's match up. Which one are we doing first?
Do the 150 reserve.
Is that?
I think that's
the right one. Yeah.
This one?
Yes. Oh.
I think.
Oh, here you get right here.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
Yep. So we have.
So it's a reserve 150.
Yep. Reserve 2021, and this is 15.6. Is that what it says?
Yes, that's what it says.
15.6%.
Yes. So this is the.
So we've upped
Reserve
our game
150.
a little bit, Tobe.
Yeah, definitely. So this is the 2021 version, and it develops in the bottle up to 5 years.
Wow.
So see, we're only halfway.
Right. So it's
there,
already been aged for. So it's 5 years, and then you're 3. So almost 8 years.
Right. So last year embarked an unparalleled milestone for Old Forester Bourbon, which celebrated its 150th year anniversary in 2020. And in 1870, founder George Garvin Brown changed the spirits industry forever when he sealed and sold his whiskey, Old Forester. So today, Old Forester remains the only brand with an uninterrupted 150-year history, sold by the same family company before, during, and after Prohibition.
Wow.
Interesting.
Nice.
So
we're educating the listeners.
Exactly.
See?
So to commemorate the original act of, these are little words, so
Tiny
words, yeah.
ingenuity, Old Forester released its 150th anniversary bourbon, comprised of 150 barrels. So basically, Bourbon County got 150 barrels of
From Old Forester.
Wow.
One of their originals. So the barrels have been around for a while. And
Do you want me to read? Because they've got on here, it might be a little bit easier for me to read, where it's talking about the flavors we should taste. So it has, I'm gonna skip over, because the first part is what you had read, Toby, but it has these handpicked limited edition barrels combined with our Imperial Stout create a once-in-a-lifetime collaboration bourbon and beer fans alike will appreciate and cherish. Expect barrel-forward flavor with notes of chocolate, vanilla, and coconut, followed by molasses, almond, berry, and oak.
Berry. It's got fruit.
Got fruit, so Jim ain't going to like it and Toby ain't going to like
So
it.
this might be in Mike's wheelhouse.
So you're saying you guys are going to be in the 2s.
Oh, it's got a good aroma.
Boy, that smells good.
Oh, my gosh. That is...
I would say
wow.
I would say this is for the more advanced
That is
craft beer person, as far as
smells fantastic.
as far as somebody that has had stronger, because this one is definitely a stronger flavor than what the first ones were.
But it is good.
So how's that coconut hitting you?
What coconut?
Wow, this is
Just the aroma on that, I was just like, whoa.
See, why am I the only one with my pinky out? There should be. This is a good beer. Wow.
I would not guess that is 15.6%.
No.
So then what you're, from one of the previous episodes with you and BK, you said you could do this bottle and a bottle of Old Foresters at the same time.
Toby, I don't know if you heard that episode or not, but BK had an idea. He'd actually texted me about it before he went down there. And he said, I think you guys, us and him or whoever, we should do one where we do barrel-aged beers, and then, even if it was just say 3 or 4 beers, but then have like that bourbon or whiskey that was from that same company.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So like here, Old Forester, you have to have some Old Forester just to taste the whiskey and see if you can pull that out of the beer.
Well, I mean, I'm
It's an
totally on board.
Jim said he will buy the Pappy Van Winkle bottle.
So
For the
here's
Central Waters one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So here's where the hard part comes in.
Here comes the excuse, Toby.
So let's say you're doing 6 beer bottles.
Well, it's something
You're
like
doing 6
no.
shots.
That's what I said. Something like that. We wouldn't do 6 beers. We'd do 3 or 4, is what I would say, because it's going to be
3 or 4 bottles.
3 or 4 beers.
Right, but then you got to do the bottle of Old
Right.
Forester with it.
Not the whole bottle.
Oh,
You just got to take a little.
Oh, you're not drinking the whole.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay. Well, I was like, holy.
Sometimes Jim scares me.
Yeah.
See, I was just getting into it.
Well, you know,
I thought that's what you
I
wanted
have
to
a
do.
perfect idea. Our friend John, he's probably got all those bottles. We could just grab his bourbon bottles, and then we'll just bring the beers and
We should invite him, and then he could
call her a day.
We could invite him. He could drink with us, and we could have the shots.
Or we'll say, hey, could you just bring your Pappy Van Winkle, your this, your that, and then just leave them and you can go home.
You know, I've actually, before our tasting, I don't think I've heard of Old Foresters. So I don't know if it's is that a good brand too? Okay.
When I had texted you that the menu from the place in Peoria with all those bourbons and that,
right?
And that's what I had. I had an Old Forester Old Fashioned.
But in my defense, there was only 500 different bourbons.
Correct.
So I didn't pick that one up.
I did ask them if I could see, because they had a bottle of the Dragon's Milk.
Oh.
And I go, can I see the bottle? And the bottle has like scales. Like, it is the coolest thing. I didn't taste it.
I wonder how much that. See, because
I haven't found it anywhere.
No, but I mean, if you found it there,
yeah,
it's not around here though.
No, that's where I found it was there. But
you know what we're talking about, right, Toby?
So Dragon's Milk is doing.
They distilled one of their.
Distilled a Dragon's Milk into a whiskey, and the bottle it has the same logo and all, but the bottle has like dragons. It's like black on the top, and then it goes down to like this, and then it's got dragon scales.
We saw when I looked up
cool.
the research, right?
Yes.
And we were going to try to find when we went on our Black Friday shopping.
But
couldn't find it.
When we were there, I looked in Binny's, which is like Total Wine, and they didn't have any. They didn't have it, you know. So it was like, oh. So when I go back next time, I'll check with them again and see if maybe they have it or not. But the bottle is cool, you know.
Oh, I mean,
and they did have, you know, I could have got a shot of Pappy Van Winkle for $175, but
he got two instead.
Yeah, they're like, get two of them. I'm like, no. So
I am going to call you out though.
All
right, because you are the Northwoods beer guy.
Yes.
So I think you should focus on beer, and if we want to get into bourbon, we can have big guy bourbon talk some other time.
Wow. Somebody's getting drunk.
Did you hear that? It was your little Haney getting spanked.
Somebody's just.
So good call. Hey, Toby, that's why we have Toby on the show, is to put Mike in his place every once in a while, because he doesn't like it when I do it.
That's because you're mean when you do it.
I take offense to that.
You should.
Well, then, since you
resemble that remark, one of the two.
Yeah, something like that.
So then, what is your score then on this?
This is good. This is good. I mean, I never would have guessed it was 15.6. I mean, it does not taste like that.
This is good.
Yeah, just the overall flavor is really good. I'm gonna go like a 4.4. I think that's good. I like it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna jump in next because I think.
Oh wow!
I think you got a little light on your score.
Wow!
This is a good beer.
Mm-hmm.
There's no. This is in the upper echelon. I know that we have not rated many. I think this is a 4.6.
Sure.
I think this is all day. I think it's in the category of the top 10 of all time of beers that we've tried. I want to get it right. I mean, it's high up there. I really like this beer. So, Toby, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree with you. This has been one of the better beers that I've tried. You know, that cherry was good. I went 4.3 on that one. That cola was good. I went 4.3, but this is good, and I could go 4.7, but I'm going to go with I'm going to agree with you, Jim, and say 4.6.
Thanks, Brad.
It's good.
I knew there are people leaving Mike in the dust again. Where sometimes it's hard to drag him along with us. You know, well, we're trying to keep him in the game.
We have one bottle left.
We do.
And this one is another big name.
It is
that they got barrels from. So I didn't want to put myself in a corner where all of a sudden I'm like, oh, what do I got to do now?
But you said you can always.
Yeah, I always could tie. Yes, you could
tie.
But I'm coming up with a defense for.
All right. So should we have Toby read some of the container to give?
Do you want to do that, Toby, or should we just read it off?
I think there's a little.
Oh, there's a little bit. Okay.
On the backside. Toby,
yeah. So I'm gonna jump down to the second paragraph that's listed on the container.
Sorry, folks. This is the Bourbon County Toasted Barrel Stout, and I'm just going to read the little
Hoo-ha.
So it says stout aged in Elijah Craig
Which we had from Central
small
Waters.
batch bourbon barrels, then aged in Elijah Craig toasted bourbon barrels. So two different Elijah Craig barrels.
So that's where the
That's where the
double whacker comes in.
Right.
Yep.
What it says on the cardboard is that'll bring an enhanced taste profile of oak.
Oh.
So vanilla and caramel to Bourbon County like no other. So limited in quantity.
Oh,
and
let me pour that out of your glass.
boundless in flavor.
Ooh, boundless.
This 2021 release is a stout to be enjoyed by a lucky few.
Oh.
So I guess this is the point where I have to comment and defend Mike a little bit. That he did bring some fantastic beers tonight. And we are a lucky few, Jim, to get to have this beer.
This is also...
Whoa. You're giving a lot more credit than it's due.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
I didn't mention it. This is 16%.
Wow. See, see here at the bottom, it says collaboration with our friends. See, but it doesn't say Mike.
Oh.
But I would, if this was me, Toby, I'd put with my friend Toby.
I appreciate that.
Wow.
See, I'd put that on there.
I guess I'm bringing my swill next time.
So the oak barrels, because it said that came out, are lightly charred and moderately toasted. And they're used by distilleries to finish the Elijah Craig small batch bourbon.
Small batch.
So let me see on
Smells
here.
good.
Does it say, okay, Bourbon County Stout, unlike any before. Okay. Oh, in addition to the familiar chocolate, caramel, and vanilla, comes flavors of toasted marshmallow and a very pronounced fruit and oak finish. Bourbon County Double Barrel Toasted Barrel Stout has a rich complexity and flavor only attainable through true craftsmanship, partnership, expert blending, and of course, patience. This is only the second time we have packaged a double barrel Bourbon County Stout. And trust us, you'll want to get your hands on this special limited edition gem. Well, good thing we got it in 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Unbelievable.
Wow. I thought the last one was good. This is
Even better.
That's
why I was saying I don't want to point myself in a corner, but
So
this is
Wow.
good.
But
This
I'll
is
go
really good.
okay, you're gonna say that 2.5's average,
Mm-hmm.
5 is as best as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had anything better than this?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
You have.
Happy
Yes.
Van Winkle, Central Waters.
Yes. That was
The most unbelievable beer I've ever had.
like a couple steps above
Yes.
everything. But
And
this
you
one I
guys
think
rated
is,
that where
4.8.
4.8.
and we've never had a 4.9, have we? Or a 5.0.
No, 4.8 is the highest we've ever had.
we've
Before
had
that, we
how-
never had one higher than a 4.6, I
Right.
think.
So we've only had one 4.8.
Yes.
That's been the highest ever.
So being a little critical, you can never go higher than that.
Sure we could. Go to 4.9.
Or 5.
But
Or
you-
unless we found some way that somebody made the perfect beer.
But you got to find one.
Yeah.
That's higher.
Yeah.
Right. And this one is,
I would say,
this one's pushing up there. This is,
yes.
the way, what they had to do to combine the two different Elijah Craig bottles. And
Well, like I said, just how they work together is like, wow.
Yeah, and
Okay.
sometimes
15.6?
you hear that
Or is
oak.
it 15.6? Okay, on the page to 6. Yeah, 15.6. Yeah.
Sometimes you hear that oak, and you're like,
and didn't
it's a little woody,
We've been to places that I don't know if they didn't char it right on the inside or what, but it had that woody flavor.
Well, when BK and I were in Nashville, they had one that was aged in fresh oak barrels. And you definitely got a woody flavor. You know what I mean? So it was it was good, but it wasn't.
you gotta chew it.
Yeah, I mean.
You don't have to chew this.
No. But this is night and day difference, but.
This is up there in the upper.
Oh, yeah.
This is pushing.
This is the rarefied air of the.
This is pushing Pappy. And just my opinion. I don't know if I hope I didn't influence you guys.
No, like I said, I think, personally, I don't think it's as good as Pappy, but it's right up there. It's very close.
Oh, you want to go first then? Or you got a score?
Honestly, I'm going to 4.7. Honestly, I mean, I think it's just one step below the Pappy.
And how many 4.7s have you rated?
I think this is the first 4.7.
So this might, without doing research, be your number 2.
This is probably my number 2 beer
ever
for score.
All right.
Like I said, I do think the Pappy was a step up yet.
Yes.
But I think this is, I'd go 4.7. I like this. I think it hits all the
wickets.
It hits everything you could want. I don't think this would be one I would recommend to a newbie, just because it does have a little bit stronger flavor.
Yep.
But if you've had a lot of barrel-aged beers before, if you can find a 2021 bottle of this,
buy it,
because this is really, really good.
Yes. Toby, I know what my score is. Do you want to do yours so I don't influence you?
Yeah, this is better than the 150. So I've got to go 4.7 as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this is 4.7. What's hard for me is I can't even tell Bourbon County what to do to get it 4.8. It's that good. It's beyond there. This is as close to perfect for a beer as we have tried and had. And I wish they could just make one of these every year so we could have one every year. It is that good. It's really kudos.
Now, next year at this time, then I can bring the 2022s. We'll have to let them age another year to see if,
And I do have, remember, I got the 3-box.
Oh, that's right.
2017, 2018, 2019.
Of the original.
The base model.
And I'll tell you, was it 2 years ago? Or it might have been last year. My brother he had bought 2 of those, and he brought one up to the camper. He and I tried them. It was him, my brother and I, and then Kirk and Tom.
Okay.
From the camper, from the beer tastings.
Right.
They came up and we tried them, and it was unbelievable how, when they aged, how that changes the flavor. It was incredible.
Better.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have to do that maybe on the podcast sometime, because that is crazy. And it's the original beer. And it's unbelievable. So first question before we get into our summary, did I redeem myself from last week? You're still on the fence, Jim, Toby.
Yeah. I can't argue. I appreciate you bringing these this week, last week.
So as you see, there's still a bunch in the bottles.
Yeah, that's good.
So did I redeem myself? If you want more of those, you better say I redeemed myself.
Well, you're not going to let it go to waste.
Well, I'll just take it back home.
He wasn't going to take the other stuff back.
Well, no, I was going to leave that here.
Wow.
All right. I know you don't want to say it, but yes, I redeemed myself. So who wants to go first on the sun? Well, Toby, we'll let you go first. So this is going to be tough, because how do you recommend? Do we want to try and recommend one, or do we just?
So here's what the
I don't think we can.
Like, you're not going to find these in a liquor store.
No, probably
you're not going to find them anywhere.
Well, maybe around here we could find like the original,
right? But you're not going to find these other ones because they're sold already.
I guess
it'd be somebody's under their bar somewhere.
Yeah.
But if you can try it, you can find them.
So, yeah, I guess let's do it that way. If somebody out there, your friend has these, or you all of a sudden stumble into where they have one or whatever, which one would you guys recommend? Hey, if you get a chance to try this, if there's one or two, try this, does that sound? Because like you said, they're not producing it anymore. So you're going to have to,
All right. So I'll start this off. I'm going to say that if you find any of these, you should maybe hang on to it and truly open it up with others that appreciate a good bourbon barrel beer. The original is good. If you can find the original, go ahead, open that up, drink it. But that cola one was a big surprise for me. That really was like one that I was like, wow. So if you can find one of those, you definitely got to buy that one. I like the cherry because of the cherry. But the last two that we had by far are unbelievable beers. The Reserve 150 and then this double barrel one. Man, if you do find those, cherish it. And like I said before, share it with people that enjoy it. When you get into that level of a beer, you don't want, and I mean this the nicest way I can, but you just don't want to waste it on someone that doesn't appreciate it.
Mm.
So
good point.
Use your discretion, but any of these bourbon barrel beers that you can find, regardless, I think if it's a 2017 to 2024, you need to buy them and enjoy them. That's the bottom line. So with all that being said, to me, the cola was the biggest surprise, and I truly enjoyed that one, which I did not think I would.
I would say if you're out there looking to add beers to your collection, those last two we had, buy those and put them in your cellar. You know what I mean? Keep them in your collection. They were amazing. I mean, unbelievable. If you find one of these that is surprising, and if you can find is the cola one, honestly, I think that one honestly surprised me. It was like, wow, I thought it was going to be just, the aroma wasn't much, but oh my gosh, the flavor made up for it, you know, and we say it that way, but all of them were unbelievable. You know, there was not a burn at all to any of them. The last two had a stronger flavor, where I think a new person to craft beer wouldn't maybe like them as much, but I think they could still drink them.
Yes.
You know, yep. But if you can find any of these, I'd say buy them from 2021, because just it's been long enough, I think, to where they've mellowed and such. And yeah, they're amazing.
Well, I'm going to have to say that Bourbon County, in my opinion, is still the cream of the crop. Is at the top of their game for barrel-aged beers. My opinion, this may not be the absolute correct opinion, but based on what we've tried, what we've had previously, what we've had, recently, these guys know what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's hands down. I mean, and what's different, like 2022, a whole different set. None of them are the same flavors. 2023, totally. So it's not like they find, like they have their base model, but then their other variants are different. So
they change them every year. That is cool.
Right. So just by the sheer fact, the knowledge that they've had to go through all the iterations of getting a good beer that tastes good that people are going to buy, these guys know what they're doing. So for me, if you can find any Bourbon County beer, get it, try it.
Yeah,
it's going to be good. For what we tried today, the last two, you don't find beers like this out there anywhere. These are just above and beyond good beers. These are the upper echelon of beers. Right. So for all, like you said, almost 4,700 beers, and the last one was number 2.
Right.
That should give you like less than 1/10 of 1% of all the beers that you tried. That's how good it was.
Right. Yeah.
That should give you like a good picture of just how good Bourbon County and the quality it is.
Oh yeah. Yep. No, I'm not arguing with that at all.
And I would say the Reserve 150 was not far behind. It's still in the top 10 overall ever.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I like the Coke beer. Because we've had the Avery beers, we've had a lot that try to oversweeten. This just had the perfect balance. And they know what they're doing. It's so hard to split hairs with some of these.
I'm pretty sure, at least the three of us, if we went to somebody's house and they offered us any one of these, we would not turn it down. You know what I mean? Yep. So, yeah, they are good. Like yes. I said, they're still one of the top. And like I said, there's no denying they're one of the top barrel-aged programs out there, at least in our area. I'm not, because I don't know what's out west, down south, whatever. But up in this region, the upper Midwest, they are still one of the top barrel-aged programs out there.
It's hard to compete with that.
Yeah. And, these are 2021, just to give an idea of what's out there for 2023, as an example. They have a 2-year Reserve Eagle Rare. So they're using quality.
Well, season 4, we'll try them.
Ooh, there we go. So they definitely have things out there.
Yeah, and they're always changing their stuff. That's the thing that I really think is cool, because you never know what they're going to come out with. And that's, like I said, the Black Friday thing, we are always, remember, I say, either Jim would text me or I'd text him, hey, they came out with what they got, and we'd send the link so we could see here's what's in the, the different flavors. And it's like, oh my gosh,
Good.
And
they're all good.
They've had, because was it 2020 that they had the ones where it had chai tea in it, which actually was pretty good.
Right.
I didn't mind it. They had, it's been every year something different. They got the base model and then they got the different variants. Yes. And that's the thing I do like with them, because they've tried some weird stuff that shouldn't work, and it works.
Yes, for sure. I hope people out there want to go out there, search for the Bourbon County one. I know there's one day we need to make that trip down to.
We have to go to to Chicago
and try to get it.
And we'll have to look because they always had it on Black Friday. You could go to the brewery and taste them all and all that. So we'll have to look into that. But I don't know now if they're not doing the Black Friday thing, if they're not going to do that anymore.
Maybe
or what?
Anytime.
Maybe, yeah, who knows? So we'll have to look into that. But yeah, we have to go down there and, hopefully they'll get out from under. But anyway, so yeah. So boys, thank you so much for, believing that maybe I could redeem myself from last week.
And the Shinerbach debacle.
And the Shinerbach debacle. Yeah. That was a debacle. I give you that. Yeah. So you got anything?
No, I think I'm glad that we were able to do this.
Yeah.
Well, now this is where the bar is set.
Yeah.
And you can go below this.
Well, yeah.
You set the bar high, so now
we're only going to have like 2 more episodes. So yeah, we do still have a lot. I've got a lot of high octane barrel aged beers yet at my house. So we'll definitely have to get into some of the Dos Vidanias and some of the other stuff that I've got.
And I hope that people aren't scared of trying these, even though we set it a little higher. Just try them, just give them. And if need be, I would volunteer to go over to their house to help them drink this beer too.
Okay, so if they find these or any of these high octane ones, you'll go over. They can, if they don't like it, you'll take it and just drink it and talk to them.
Drink it.
Okay, they're perfect.
Yeah, because they're.
That doesn't seem creepy at all, does it, Toby?
No.
Toby, thank you so much for agreeing to. I know you didn't like any of these, but.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on this episode. This was a real treat, and I greatly appreciate it.
So, yeah, I'm not sure yet. We got to go through the list, see what we're going to have for next week, but yes. We will do that. And Toby, you might have to be back because, like I said, I got a lot of big boy beers. Ooh. And we don't have a lot of our friends don't like, they're not big boys, I guess. Yeah. So
they don't like the flavor.
Yes. We have a lot of coffee and cigarettes. One of our friends says our beers taste like coffee and cigarettes. Well, not all of them do, and none of these did. So
no.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. And hey, like we always say, we hope your campfire is always warm.
And your beers are always cold.
Have a good one, folks.
See ya.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. If you have a question, a comment, or a beer you'd like us to review, please feel free to send us a message at northwoodsbeerguy@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're on Untappd, look up Northwoods Beer Guy and send a friend request. Until next week, I hope all your campfires are warm and all your beer is cold.